Also, there is also a sort of a meeting, public meeting, you know, when the public buyer authority is presenting the tender, is clarifying some issues, or organize a visit to the site on the infrastructure. So this is something that we are considering. So what we would like to maybe understand the best approach. So also in this case of the first preliminary contacts, do you recommend to go through some local intermediary organization that can help us to bridge this, to make us a bridge? Or if you think that we can, I don't know, write an email and present ourselves, we will be totally ignored.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not a perfect answer to that. It will depend also on the people and the organization. But in the case of Procurement Canada, you will see that it's part of their role and it's part of their mandate to talk to everybody who wants to answer to a public tender and to help and train those people. So Jonathan, who's going to be there on Thursday, was, you know, I met with him at a trade show. We kept in touch since then. We had some discussion once in a while. It was fairly easy to convince, and he clearly indicated that was part of his mandate. So in his instance, very easy. Then I mentioned that I tried to have MERS or SEAO doing a presentation, and they didn't want to. They were totally opposed to it. So it depends on the people, depends on the mandate. Now, you will see in one of the next slide, one of the key to do business in Canada is networking. Okay. And maybe it's the next slide. Yeah.
Considering the mails also a sort of certified mails, or you use your normal one. So if you want to communicate with an official office, governmental office, you have to use a certified mail as we do in Italy, or you have the normal mails that you use.
I'm sorry, there is a lot of echo. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we hear Antonella quite bad, but I understood the point. In Italy, I don't know if some other countries also, there are different levels of mailing, sending the emails. In particular, if you would like to communicate with the public authorities at different levels, you need to use so-called certified mails.
Okay.
So that they are recognized and they're usually associated to the companies or to the professionals with the VIT registration, so not to the physical persons, let's say. And this is more official level of communicating through emails. The question is, does exist something like similar, or you just, you know, you can use Gmail if you want, and this.
Yeah, no, I've never heard about anything like that in Canada. I don't think it exists. But and let me take that example again of Procurement Canada. Okay, I've sent a first email to Procurement Canada saying, "Hey, we're going to do we have that program, Extra Light, looking at some support." No answers. Now I say, oh, that's true. I know Jonathan. I'm going to try to talk to him. So I write to John. I wrote to that email, but mentioning the name of Jonathan into it because for some reason I didn't have his email. And here, 6 hours later, I had an answer. So, you know, the answer to your question is, if it's like everything, if you go and you use a general mailbox and you go through the general process, they might answer you maybe in 2 months, 3 months, 48 hours, I don't know. But so that's when you need to use all your local leverage as much as possible and to use the people you know, or the person who knows the person who knows the person. But it's how it works in Canada. If you want to have an answer from someone, you better leverage the people's your network to have access to them. So to answer your question in terms of organizing a train mission here, Well, obviously, people like us can help you with that and leverage our network as much as possible. The other option is to maybe find some clusters that are in the same industry as yours and work with them on a partnership to facilitate both way work. And maybe those people can introduce you then to the right people at the municipal and provincial level. And you can also be, you know, some extent lucky or having people that are answering their email and get a direct answers. All scenarios are possible, but I think the one that works every time and the most reliable is to leverage your network.
Okay.
So it's you have to know someone that's going to open you the door, that's going to introduce you to someone else, and that people will do. So you know, you talk to someone and you say, hey, listen, okay, thank you for your help, but do you also know someone who could do that? So for example, with Jonathan, I was talking to him and I say, oh, okay, so who do you know at the provincial level that I could contact in Quebec and Ontario? And he say, oh, Quebec and Ontario, I don't know anybody, but I'm happy to connect you with a person at the provincial level for Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Which is where he's located. So networking or leveraging your contact is definitely the right way to do it, because once you've got that first contact, they will open up doors for you. And you must feel very comfortable in Canada to ask for that type of support. People are not offended and find that normal.
Okay, clear, very clear. So it's very similar to European approach also from this point of view.
Yeah. Well, it's always easier when you know the people, right? Yes, something that's in that slide that I want to address is the two last bullets, pretty much. How much it is in Canada in business discussion, a question that comes very, very fast. You know, Again, I know France better than the other countries in Europe when it comes to business, but I've done meetings, commercial meetings in France where we never talk about money. We talk about, oh, look at that nice product. What is your need? Is what we can offer? Yada, yada, yada. And then you leave the meeting and you need a second meeting where you're going to start talking about the price once you make sure that, you know, your offer fits their need. I think it's a pretty smart way to do it. Here in Canada, after 5 minutes, they can ask you, okay, how much? So you have to be ready to answer that question, either with a number, if it's an easy answer, or, you know, find a way to not answer, but give them some material, because they're going to be pushy about some numbers, because they want to have numbers very quickly, because a lot of the reasoning in Canada, and I guess in North America in general, is about ROI. So it's a lot, not all about, but a lot about short-term ROI. So they want to know, if I'm going to buy that system, if you tell me you're going to make me save 25% on my cost of electricity to light my building, it's 25% over how many years before I pay off for your system. So that's that's very key to be ready to answer that type of question and to understand how your solution in the Canadian context can provide a quick ROI.
To